What's up, creators? It's your boy, Mad Mike. On today's episode, I'm going to give you an update on the El-CUDA project. If you're new to the channel, this is a 1976 El-Camino that we've mounted onto a 2011 Chevy Silverado with 1970 Dodge Charger rear quarter panels and a 1970 Plymouth Cuda front end. So let's go for a little tour from front to back. We'll give you the update. You can maybe tell it's looking a little bit different now. I've done a lot of dry fitting with the car. I've done a lot of, this is all mock-up stage right now. So everything is just bolted on with sheet metal screws sitting in place. So I'm trying to get an idea of how I want the car to look and trying to make everything fit into place. So if you look at the front end of the car, we got the 1970 Plymouth Cuda fiberglass flip front end. This is off an old drag car that my girlfriend behind the camera and I picked up from Manitoulin Island in Ontario. And I never knew what I was going to do with this flip front end, but there you have it. And I never knew what we were going to do with the El-Camino, but there you have that. So the whole front end is fiberglass. I've been able to trim it all up. The lower valance is all trimmed up, and I was able to shove it back as far as I can to try to keep the body looking like a Plymouth Cuda. I want to keep the proportions correct. I don't want to get rid of any of the lower valance where I don't need to. With it being sucked back so far and we have the front of the frame rails of the truck exposed, we're going to end up making like a pre-runner push bar, brush bar. So it's going to kind of come up with some round tubing, and it's not going to overpower the car. I don't want this car to have this big metal front end. What else? We got the hood scoop on the car. I think they call it a Hemi hood scoop. So that's just sitting there mocked up right now. And we got a 1970 grill that's going to go into it as well once we're ready for that. And with the radiator and the trans cooler and everything down in here, we're leaving that all there and all factory, because underneath the hood we have a 4.8 liter GM or Chevy LS motor. So everything on the inside, from the firewall, the floor, and the engine bay, is all 2011 Chevy Silverado. So moving around to the side, we got good clearance here for all the tires. The wheel well is starting to look pretty centered inside that tunnel. That's as far back as I was able to shift the front end of the Cuda. So we're pretty tight here to our windshield. So the proportions are starting to look pretty good. Moving back from there, we got the 1976 Chevy El-Camino body mounted onto the frame, and we got it down as low as we can and as far forward as we can as well. Then if you look on the inside of the El-CUDA, you can see we retain the 2011 Silverado floor. So all these wires are all old airbag stuff. We're going to delete all that. But the El-Camino needed a floor, so we kept that floor in place. So now that I got it sitting here, we got our steering column and gauges out of the Silverado. That's all 2011 Silverado stuff as well. And we're gonna make a custom dash. We got our heater, our AC, our radio, everything's gonna go back in. So this is gonna be like a newer car. Down on the side here, in the last few videos, you might have seen that there was some big chunky rocker, I guess you'd call it, off the old Silverado. This is where it used to come down, and it was just all rusty and bulky down here. I've cut that all out. We're gonna get some 1/8 plate, and we're gonna plate this all in straight across here. And once the frame's all painted black and the doors are on, this is gonna look really, I guess, what's the word? Finished, put together, like it was meant to be. I don't know. It won't look out of place. And then I got some nice running boards that are going to go below here that I picked up at a local swap meet. So that'll kind of hide the frame rail a little bit as well too, and give you a step to get up and in the car. Moving back from there, if you look at the quarter panels, these are off of a 1970 Dodge Charger. These are actually the quarter panels off of one of the cars that Dennis Collins picked up from Coffee Walk. The quarter panels might look a little rough, and that's kind of the look we're going with this whole car. It's going to be like a Mad Max kind of vibe going on with it. So we're either going to do like a satin black paint job, or one of my coworkers has plum crazy purple, so we might do a plum crazy purple. So as far as the finishing on this car, we're just gonna bolt everything on with sheet metal screws and just roughly get everything fitting. And then we're gonna put it all into black epoxy primer. From there, I basically wanna get this car running and driving and finished. And at that point, we can decide whether we wanna do a nice finished car or have it still kind of be Mad Max. I don't really wanna do a lot of body work on this car, so I'm thinking we're gonna leave it with all the sheet metal screws and rivets and have it looking kind of like a fighter jet in a way. And it's gonna have that pre-runner vibe too, so I think that's the route. What do you think, babe? Should we just keep it kind of Mad Max looking? And you like the satin black, right? All right, that's her vote. 1970 Dodge Charger quarter panels. And one thing you might notice if you picked it up, these pieces here used to be right here on the Charger. So obviously that's not gonna work for our application, so I cut them off and I'm going to graft them in, weld them in right up here, and I think that gives it kind of a Mopar look to it, and it changes up the El-Camino body as well. Once the quarter panels are where they need to be, we'll go ahead and we'll trim out all the wheel openings and we'll make them look kind of centered to the wheelbase. Moving around the back of the car, this is the newest piece that you guys and girls haven't seen yet, but we got a 1970 Plymouth Cuda rear taillight. This being the El-CUDA build, I didn't want to have too much Dodge Charger on it, so we're trying to have the CUDA front end, the CUDA back end, and I think we're pulling it off. So I got two different sets of taillight lenses. These are, I believe, the 70, and I also have the 71 set. So everything's just mocked up right now. I got some, if you look in here, some self-tapping screws. So everything's just held on with self-tapping screws. I made some little brackets over here on the top and the bottom. So last night I just made some brackets. If you look down here, we got these brackets that I bent up. If you come in the shop real quick, come into the Mad Lab, we got some new tools. So back in here, I picked up a stomp shear. So this is probably from like the 1930s or something like that. We got it all sanded down and painted up, so that's a nice tool to have. Able to shear up your sheet metal. And then over here we got our brake press. So we got the new brake press in the shop. I was able to bend up those brackets. I'm continuously adding tools to the shop. And next on the list is going to be a CNC plasma cutter. That's the next thing on the list. So the back end of the car is my favorite so far. The 1970 Plymouth Cuda rear end. I think that's going to look bitchin'. And we're going to do a custom valence panel down below here. And that'll finish it off. And then the whole bumper, we're going to keep the trailer hitch. But I might cut the frame rail on both sides and move it in about a foot. But time will tell. It is kind of nice having a step here. So once we have a valence panel in here, then I might actually build a custom step to get in and out of the truck. Be kind of handy, and yeah, only time will tell what we do with the rear end of the car. Come around this side here. This is where the Charger gas cap used to be, so I'm going to get one of the Charger flip gas caps for in here. We're going to retain that and hook it up to the fuel neck. And it's the same all the way around here. Got the keys in still. Alright, so that's going to be it for the El-CUDA build. I think you guys got a good update on the car there. If there's anything else you want to know about the El-CUDA, leave a comment below. If you're new to the channel, I'll show you a couple more of the other projects that we got going on. That way, I don't know, something else might interest you if the El-CUDA doesn't. Over here, we have 1974 Dodge Charger that we just picked up. It's a barn find. If you look at this side here, it's completely crunched in. So this is a parts car only. Come this way here. We won't go all the way back there, but back there is a 1985 Pontiac Fiero that's got a Lamborghini Murcielago body kit on it. That one will be in the shop down the road. And then around the corner here in our outdoor shop, I guess you want to call it, the outdoor Mad Lab, none of the trucks, including if you look at the El-CUDA, you can tell how long it is. It's got a long box and it's a really long car. So unfortunately, it won't fit in our 20 by 20 shop. So we've converted this into our outdoor shop. And back in this corner is my prized possession. This is a 1974 Plymouth Barracuda that we're turning into a Plymouth Cuda AAR tribute car. So this is gonna be a badass car. If you look underneath the hood, we have a 440 big block that we yanked out of a motorhome, and we got it running, got it shoved inside the car, and the paint's all peeling off, but I don't care. We'll either redo that paint job or leave this kind of as a ratty Cuda. We'll see. So those are a couple cars, and the last car, you might have seen it already, it was in the shop. My dad's gonna probably be giving me a call right now after watching this video. We're building a 1985 Pontiac Fiero that we're turning into a Ferrari 355 Spider. So we're gonna be painting this car here yellow. That's the color that he wants it to go. This car is pretty badass. It's got all the big scoops. Everything's a replica of a real Ferrari 355 Spider. But lately I've been into doing metal work and metal fab. This is all fiberglass, and I hate fiberglass work, so I kind of dig in the old muscle cars and the Mopars because they're just a lot more fun working with metal. That's gonna be it for today's episode. I hope you liked it. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys and girls next time. Ciao, ciao.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up